أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن علي أمير المؤمنين علي الله أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله اللهم أجل قلبي بارهم لسارهم عيشي كانوا ورزق دارهم وعلى أولادي برار وأجلي إن قبر بنبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم مستقرا وقرارا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين
माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह शुक्रिया भाई من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا ذا الذي كان قبل كل شيء ثم يبقى ويكون كل شيء يا ذا الذي ليس كمثله شيء ويا ذا الذي ليس في السماوات العلى ولا في الأرضين السفلى ولا فوقهم ولا تحتهم ولا بينهم إلا هو يعبد غير لك الحمد حمدا لله يقبل إلا أنت وصل على محمد وعلى محمد صلوات الله يقبل إلا أنت اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم سلمني في من الذنوب وطهرني من الرجوب وامتحن قلبي في التقوى والقلوب يا مقيل صراط المذنبين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضى من شهر رمضان وجهك الفجر من ليلة هذا ولا قبله ذنب والتوبة الصادقني إليه اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إنك قلت في كتابك المنزل شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان وظبط حرمة شهر رمضان بما أنزلت فيه من القرآن وخطت بلغة القدر وجاءت خير من ألف شهر اللهم وهذه أيام وشهر رمضان قد انقضى والليالي قد تسرمت وقد سرت يا الله منه إلا ما أنت عالم به مني وسلد به من الخلق أجمعين وأسألك بما سلك به ملائكة المقربون وأنبياء كل المرسلون وعبادك الصالحون اتصل على محمد وعلى محمد أنت فوق الرتبة من النار وتدخلني جنة برحمتك وإن تتفضل على بعفوك وكرمك وتتقبل وتستجيب الدعاء وتمنى علي بالأمن يوم الخوف من كل حال أدرته ليوم القيامة بالله وأعوذ بوجهك الكريم وبجلالك العظيم أن ينقض أيام شهر رمضان قل يا لي ولك قبلي تبت الذنب تؤخذني بي وخطيئة تريد أن تقتصها مني لم تغفرها سيدي 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 أسألك يا لا إله أنت إذ لا إله إلا أنت إن كنت رضيا أني في هذا الشهر فازد أني رزقا وإن لم تكن رضية أني فمن ألعني فرض أني يا أرحم الراحمين يا الله يا أحد يا صمد يا من لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد
واردون إن شاء الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم محمد،
اللهم صل على محمد
على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين. قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه ومتقن خطابه: ومن أعرض عن ذكري فإن له معيشة ضنكا ونحشره يوم القيامة أعمى. أوصيكم عباد الله ونفسي بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم. Maybe this Friday would be the last Friday in Ramadan, but as you know, alhamdulillah, this year the first day of Ramadan was universal and all agreed on the same day, but inshallah, hopefully the end of Ramadan would be the same. As we say in Arabic, miskuhu al-khitam, khitamuhu misk. Inshallah, the unity would also last to actually the day of Eid. But anyway, maybe it would be on Friday or Saturday. But the important thing is that, inshallah Rahman, we get the lesson from the months of Ramadan that, we are capable to make the right judgment, the judgment which is based on reason, on taqwa, not based on passion or nafsul ammarat bis-su'. And if we can fix this problem, the problem of freedom from our own lower desires, I think that, Salaam alaikum wa barakatuh, the unity is not out of reach. It is not out of reach because, as the Quran says, the reason for this unity is the lack of taqwa. هذه أمتكم أمة واحدة وأنا ربكم فاتقون. That there is relation between taqwa and unity, and this unity, Salaam rahmatullah wa barakatuh, comes from the state of actually non-taqwa. And you know that in the months of Ramadan, it is not only just to fast, it is also to pay. That's why in order to make your fasting complete, you have to pay Zakatul Fitra. This is called Zakatul Fitra. And Zakatul Fitra, without Zakatul Fitra, the fasting would not be complete. And also, the fasting should help people to pay Zakatul Fitra, because fasting will nourish the the sense of detachment from this dunya. That, when you actually fast, you are saying no, because you want to make a balance between saying yes and no. We are always saying yes to dunya. Zakatul fitra is the sign that my fasting is effective, that you are saying no to the accumulation of the wealth. So that's why you are paying zakat. And zakat, I think that zakatul fitra is also, they put about 7 pounds of food. I think this is the minimum. This is the symbolic. It doesn't say, you have to pay only this amount of actually food. I see that some people, they are arguing about the amount of the zakatul fitra. I remember one time I was saying, okay, zakatul, it was a long time ago. Zakatul fitra is $10. So no, some other places saying $5. And you are increasing, arguing about the amount of zakat. But it means that this is the minimum. If you pay more, this would be more khair. This is doing more good. Okay? And nowadays you see the inflation, it is not $10 anymore. You have, I think that it would be between $15 and $20. Don't say, okay, it was 15, it was about before Corona. It's okay. But now, we have to pay more for zakatul fitr. At least you have to pay $15. Okay. When I say people, you have to pay $15, some people say, Maulana, in Pakistan is $5 or $2, but you are living here. And you have to actually, this zakatul fitra should reflect your living in this place, not the living of people in Pakistan or in Afghanistan. Yes, in Afghanistan, maybe it would be less than $1. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. So, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that one of the ways of freeing ourselves is to pay zakat. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. Means that even zakat, you see that always when Quran talks about salat and zakat, salat is first. Is that right? فَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. But here is zakat first. And salat is after zakat. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. Why? Because you know what? It was meant, to reduce the gap between wealthy people and poor people. Many people, they cannot show the sign of Eid on themselves, on their children. So it is required that you pay zakatul fitra before salatul Eid. Even you can pay the zakatul fitra before the day of Eid. Why? In order to make the poor people to use this money to buy new clothes, that when they come to Salatul Eid, there would not be disparity between wealthy people and poor people. So to this extent, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually seeing that the zakatul fitra important. So, you can, as I said, set aside, even in the middle of Ramadan, in the mid of Ramadan, you can set aside the zakatul fitra and you pay And, so the poor people can use this actually for the Eid, or for actually Zakatul Fitra is not actually is that you have to, distribute to many people. Even you can pay Zakatul Fitra to one person who is in a state of poverty, in a state of faqr, you can pay. Some people, as the late Mutahari said, the way we are giving sadaqah, we are actually making people to have the habit of begging, paying in a way that we want them to be faqir and poor for the rest of their lives. No, this is not the way to do the sadaqah. Sadaqah means that your sadaqah can change this person's situation, transform him from the state of poverty, from the state that he would be actually productive to. Okay, this guy, for example, has no work. Yes, you can help him every day, $50, $20 to go and buy his groceries. But if you give him, for example, an amount of money that he can work with that money, for example, buying equipment, can work with this. This sadaqah is more effective than the sadaqah which you just give him every day and you keeping him in a state of poverty. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want that, we would have two types of people, poor people and wealthy people. No. Zakat meant to change the poverty to the wealth. So this is the message of actually the Zakatul Fitra. So there is a question that sometimes people, they are asking also. This is another question, that if I have guests and actually the eve of the Eid, should we pay the Zakatul Fitra? And some people, they ask this question in a way that they want to evade themselves from paying the Zakatul Fitra for the guest people. No, the answer is that if the guest is coming just for dinner, iftar dinner, like, he is living say, in Farmington, and you're living in Middletown, and he's coming for the eve of actually the Eid to have dinner with you. No, you don't have to pay the Zakatul Fitra for him. But if someone comes, for example, from another state, and he wants to stay with you for 5-6 days, no, for this person you are paying actually the Zakatul Fitra. Why? Because the standard for paying Zakatul Fitra is if that person would be considered your aila or ayal, that would be actually dependent on you for certain days. So you have to pay actually the Zakatul Fitra. So the standard is aylula, that if the person is dependent on you. For example, if you have the son, he is not living actually with you, but he is in dorm. He is in the college, he is in dorm, and he's not living with you. You still have to pay the Zakatul Fitra for him. Why? Because this person is dependent on you. So, but as I said, we have to get the message of zakat. Zakat, as the Quran says, that if you want to get salvation, you have to get rid of the attachment to this dunya. Get rid of the attachment to this dunya. And Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. That's why the Quran says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ. You see that for the salat, we say in azan, حَيَّ عَلَى الْفَلَاحِ. Because also the falah in the salat is related to the falah in zakat. when you are more concentrate in salat, that you are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you get freedom, then you are easily prone to pay zakat too. Because you know that this, dunya is temporary and you cannot keep the money forever. And either the money will leave you or you are going to leave the money, the wealth. So that's why, pay before it is taken from you. This is actually the wisdom that if you don't give the money in charity, in sadaqat, then, you have to expect that there would be one day, as I, read to you a hadith from Imam Hassan alayhi salam last Friday, that the money that which you are not spending it and you are just keep it, you are like the bank for that money. It is not yours, and you are always subject to losing of this money. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when you do infaq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the substitute for that. You have to have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to, inshallah, help all of us to be, inshallah rahman, among of those who reach the state of tazkiyah, the state of detachment from this dunya, inshallah rahman, in the Ramadan. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad kama sallaita ala Sayyidina Ibrahim wa ala ali Sayyidina Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين الصلاة والسلام على أئمة المسلمين سيما أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله عليه وصلى وسلم على سيدتنا سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة صلوات الله عليها وصلى وسلم على سبطي الرحمة الحسن والحسين وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة القائم المنتظر. اللهم اجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والمدافعين تحت لوائه. أوصيكم عباد الله نفسي أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم. As I said in the first khutbah, that the fasting is to reach the state of taqwa. Taqwa means to get the state of freedom. The means for reaching the freedom or real freedom is to get the state of taqwa. And taqwa means that, as I said many times, that always when you have taqwa, you are always capable to make right judgment. This is the meaning of taqwa. Why? Because the taqwa means that you are not a slave of your desires. Because when we are a slave of our desires, we are not capable to make the right judgment. The only way that we are capable to make the right judgment, that we are getting the self-mastery about our actually controlling, about the controlling of our desire. This is the only way. So that's why, when they talk about the freedom, usually in the Western, scholarship, they are talking about external freedom. Mostly this is what it means, external freedom. But in religions in general, the emphasizing would be on internal freedom, because there is a relationship between internal freedom and external freedom. You cannot get the external freedom if you don't have internal freedom. Okay? And in order to get internal freedom, you have to go through the tazkiyah. That's why you see that freedom is so sacred even in the United States. You will see that in Independence Day, that they got the independence actually from the Britain, was so important, or the freedom from the slavery, was so important. But you see that still the people, they say, okay, the slavery was abrogated, but you see that the freedom is not there for many people. That's why they are making distinction between two things: freedom from and freedom to. Okay. Freedom from and freedom to. Freedom from, it means that, okay, there is no external slavery. Okay, but what about freedom to? You see that many people got freedom when the slavery was abrogated. But when they got this freedom, but still there was no freedom for them, because, okay, if you wanted to work, you need money to invest. You want to buy a store, you need money. You don't have money. You want to have a good work, you have to have education, but you don't have education. So it means that you are not capable to achieve your goal. Freedom too means that the opportunity is there to achieve your goal. It is not only what we call it, the negative freedom. I mean, negative freedom is that it's not obstacle to actually prevent your freedom. But positive freedom is more important. Positive freedom means that there is opportunity for all to reach their goals. Okay, so why Islam is emphasizing on zakat? Because Islam wants to actually produce the positive freedom, not only the negative freedom. Okay, there is no slavery, but are you making the situation right for people who don't have enough money to have access to education, to have access to the healthcare? Okay. This freedom is more important. Yes, nowadays, you see that they do this. The governments, they do this. They take the tax from the wealthy people, then give this money to the poor people as a welfare food stamp. Okay, they do this. But Islam, some people, they don't like to pay this. They are paying this not by choice, by force. Okay. But Islam is saying, no, you have to pay with the bottom, from the bottom of your heart. Okay? Nobody is forcing you to pay zakat al-fitra. You know? You are paying zakat al-fitra because you have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that paying zakat al-fitra is good for your soul. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Jazakallah khair. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So, in order to, pay the zakat al-fitra, because there is a good by paying, there is a good will come to the society by paying zakat al-fitra. That's the social justice. Yeah, see, reduce the gap between poor people and wealthy people. To feel the state of solidarity with other people. It is not just only to pay the money. No. When you pay the zakat al-fitra, you should not even mention it. Don't do minnah. لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى. When you pay charity, don't mention it. It should be actually coming from the heart. There is a hadith that when you pay zakat al-fitra, don't make your hand in the upper position and the hand of someone who's taking the sadaqah, the lower position. No, put your hand down and he is going to take the money from you and his hand would be in the upper position. And in order to know that when you are paying zakat, this is not your money, this is the money of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Because everything belongs to Allah. What we say, inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The wealth I have, the family which I have, the status which I have, all belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya ayyuhan nas, this is what the Quran says. Ya ayyuhan nas, antumul fuqara'u ila Allah. Wallahu huwa al-ghaniyyul hamid. So, this is actually the meaning of tazkiyah, because when you do the tazkiyah, you pay the zakat, you are also growing. You are getting more the state of freedom. Some people, they have actually this objection. Okay, you are Muslims, you are saying that I am submissive to God. This is the meaning of Islam. Huh? Islam means to have submission to God. Is that right? But at the same time, you are saying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving total freedom to human being. It's contradiction. How you can match these two together? You have to be submissive, and at the same time you are saying that I am free. Because the freedom, this is very important thing when we say about the servitude. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. When we talk about the servitude, what is the servitude? Servitude doesn't mean the bondage only. It's not the bondage that you are a slave. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you free will. You can act upon the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you can refuse. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. This is what the Quran says. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. It means that you have freedom to choose. But meaning of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that when you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are in fact making yourself close to the traits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see that 99 Asma'ullah al-Husna? This is the meaning of ibadat. Ibadat means that you want to be like God in the morality. Allah is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, and you have also to have the compassion and mercy to other people. Allah is Adl. You have to be also just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you are making yourself close to Allah. If you don't make yourself in trait close to the traits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are not worshiping Allah. So what is the meaning of the freedom? Is not because when they talk about the freedom is they say, okay, to do what you want to do. This is the meaning of freedom. They say that freedom means that self-determination, that you are capable to do whatever you want to do. But then they know that they cannot go by this. They have to put the limit. What is the limit? Oh, except you are not harming other people. They put this example. Drinking alcohol is okay. You can't drink alcohol. Even drink alcohol till your death. Drink. You have freedom to drink the alcohol whatever amount you want. But when you go out, you cannot drive and you have some amount of alcohol in your body. So this is the limit. Well, at home, you can drink whatever you want. But when you come out, you cannot do it. So this is what they say. You are free as long as you are not harming other people. But this would not be enough. That's why when we talk about freedom, freedom is not that to do what you want. Freedom, according to Islamic definition, is not to be free, to do what you want to do. Freedom is the right to do what is the right. There's difference. Freedom to do what do you want, or freedom to do what is the right. And the freedom which we actually see this freedom in the word of La ilaha illallah. When you say, what is the meaning of La ilaha illallah? La ilaha illallah means the freedom to do what is right. This is actually the meaning of freedom. And if you don't get this freedom, you are a slave, because this is the reality of life. You cannot say no one is worshiping in this world. Everyone would worship in this world. If you don't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you have to worship the shaitan. This is the reality of life. If you don't, because worshiping Allah means that you are capable to do what is right. This is the meaning of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not the bondage. So, freedom is what is the right. That's why what the Quran says about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the names of Allah is Al-Haq. Is that right? Haq. Haq means the right. This is the verse of Quran. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْحَقِّ. Allah is the Haq. And when you say freedom is that to do what is right, it means that this is the meaning of La ilaha illallah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, if you don't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are worshiping shaitan. Just pay attention to this verse of Quran. وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّضْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. If you are walking away from remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are walking away from worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, نُقَيِّضْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the shaitan is assigned for you to worship. You see what the Quran says? أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Shaitan is not only actually the jinn. No, shaitan could be the desire. The ilah, according to the Quran, is here that, the desire could be the Lord or could be the God. And this verse of Quran is saying that, worshiping is universal. If you don't worship God, then you are worshiping other God. You are worshiping shaitan. This verse is very important. وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّضْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. And in another verse, Quran says, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. If you are not worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are not attaching yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you are losing your freedom. Dhank in Arabic means constrain and restrain. If you don't have remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are not with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are in a state of slavery. فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And you are going to be raised up in the day of judgment like the blind. So, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us, inshallah rahman, to, as I said in the first khutbah, to know the purpose of the worshiping. The worshiping means that, this is the meaning of worshiping, that you are training yourself that to do what is right. And as I said, this cannot be done without taqwa. Without taqwa, you cannot reach this, that you are always thinking to do what is right. When you are doing things would be right, then you are worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you say, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah means that I'm not doing anything but the good thing. Yeah. Because when you do the good thing, then you are close to Allah. This is the meaning of Tawheed too. What is the meaning of Tawheed? Tawheed means you integrate your characters with the characters of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see that even the fasting? You see what the Quran says? Allahus Samad. What is the meaning of Samad? Samad has many meanings. One of the meanings of the Samad means that the one who has no need for eating or drinking. This is one of the meanings of Samad. Allahus Samad, when you say, this is the meaning of Samad, that Allah has no need for drink like human being and eating. So when you are fasting, you are saying to God, I want to be like you. For a period of time, you are actually copying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's trade. So this is the what they call it ikhlas. You see that there is a in khutbah of Fatima al-Zahra salawatullah that she is saying in her khutbah the reason for prescription of fasting. فرض الصيام تثبيتا للإخلاص. That Siyam, fasting, was prescribed in order to establish and deepen the sense of ikhlas. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. That's why we have to remind ourselves frequently to the importance of ikhlas by reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas in Salat. You know, it was said that it is makruh to avoid reading Surah Al-Ikhlas in namaz. You recite, for example, if you recite Surah Al-Qadr in the first rak'ah, Surah Al-Kawthar in the second rak'ah, you can't do it, but it is makruh. Make one of the rak'ah to recite Surah Al-Ikhlas, because you know, ikhlas is very important, that you need constant reminding to the importance of this character, this trait. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to be min al-mukhlasin, inshallah. Min al-mukhlasin, al-mukhlasin. Not only mukhlas, mukhlas. What is the difference between mukhlas and mukhlas? Mukhlas is the action of ikhlas, the striving for reaching the state of ikhlas. Mukhlas means that to reach that state of ikhlas. Because sometimes you are trying, but you are stopping in the middle of the way. So that's why you have to do dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you to path on the actually way of ikhlas, on the path of ikhlas, so you are mukhlas, and also help you to reach the destination of ikhlas, which is the state of mukhlas. Allahumma ij'alna min al-mukhlisin al-mukhlasin, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليا أمير المؤمنين حجة الله. أشهد أن عليا أمير المؤمنين ولي الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم والذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين. قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده.
الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة توفني مسلما وألحقني بالصالحين. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
الرحمن الرحيم. يا علي يا عظيم يا غفور يا رحيم، أنت الرب العظيم الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. وهذا شهر عظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور، وهو الشهر الذي فرضت صيامه عليه، وهو شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، وجعلت فيه ليلة القدر وجعلتها خيرا من 1000 شهر. فيا ذا المن ولا يمن عليك، من علي بفكاك رقبتي من النار، فيمن تمن عليه وادخلني الجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله، أشهد أن علي أمير المؤمنين علي الله، أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حميده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. رب هب لي من لدنك ذرية طيبة إنك سميع الدعاء. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
اللهم
اللهم
قل
قل
وليك
وليك
فجدد الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى
في
هذه
هذه
الساعة
في كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا ودليلا وعينا حتى تذكره وتشكره وتمتعه
فيها طويلا.
Please recite the Surah Fatiha for Priya Khatun, Nakbudin Tabarsi, Aziz Akhtar Naqvi, Abdul Nisa bint Mustaq Hussain, our Friday prayer members, Haidar Tatari, Ali Muhammad, Professor Ayub, Virat Ali, Jangiz Zaidi, Musa Zahidi, and all other Marhumeen and Marhumat, please recite the Surah Fatiha.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Please recite five Tamam Mujibu for those who are sick, especially for Brother Asif Naqvi, Muhammad Raza, Sikte Raza, Akhtar Razi, and Brother Naveed Hassan. Please recite five Tamam Mujibu, follow Maulana.
أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. صلوا على محمد.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم يا رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. السلام عليكم يا المرتضى عليه السلام. السلام عليكم محمد المصطفى.